Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. If you're having trouble with either knowing how to partner with God as the wife of an alcoholic, or if you're struggling with your self-esteem or self-worth, I have two new things that I think could be really helpful for you. They are micro courses plus studies, and I'll explain what that means. So the first is called Anchored in Faith, Partnering with God in the Midst of Addiction. And the second is called From Doubt to Confidence, Building Self-Worth as the Wife of an Alcoholic. And as I said, these are micro courses plus a study. So what does that mean? Well, they will each include audio teachings, questions for you to answer, and a study guide that has scriptures, passages, implementation steps, and prayers, and also a workbook that helps you work through all of the things that you've learned. So the first one, Anchored in Faith. We hear that we're supposed to let go and let God when our husband is addicted. I'm sure you've heard me say that a bunch of times, and it's super critical, but sometimes it seems really difficult to actually find that balance or know what to do. So if you're struggling in that area, then this particular micro course plus study is for you. If you are, as I said, struggling with your self-esteem, if you're doubting your decisions, maybe all of the above, which are common occurrences in the situation as wife of an alcoholic, then the From Doubt to Confidence micro course plus study is for you. You may want both of them, and that would be great. They're tackling two totally different things. And so I think that really all of us, wives of alcoholics, can benefit from both of these topics, which is why I wanted to bring them to you. So they are now available on my website. You just have to go to marriedtoaddiction.com and click on the drop down for the everything page, and you'll see them right there. Again, they're called Micro Course plus Studies. There are two, Anchored in Faith and From Doubt to Confidence. I hope you decide to pick them up. Hello, and welcome into episode 96 of the Married to Addiction podcast. Today's episode is called Staying Stuck in the Negative. So I wanted to do this episode because I recently released a lesson in the Secret Sister Circle, which is my private group coaching program for Christian wives of alcoholics, called Staying Positive in the Negative. That lesson is more of like a how-to, like all of the Secret Sister lessons are. But today I wanted to talk on the podcast a little bit about this too, mostly because being stuck in the negative was me for a really, really long time. I stayed stuck only in the negative when my husband was deep in addiction for years, and it absolutely poisoned me in every area of my life. So I'm going to give you a bit of tough love today in the hopes that that won't happen to you, because I don't want you to stay stuck like I did. When we are in a difficult situation like this, we have a couple of choices. Now, they may not feel like choices in the moment, but there are choices that you get to make as the wife of an alcoholic. So the first choice, and where a lot of us get stuck, is staying in a victim mentality. What that means is that day in and day out, you're focusing only on all the terrible things that are happening to you because of your husband's drinking. So when we are in this mode, we are constantly thinking about those terrible things. We constantly talk about them. We constantly dwell on them. Now, that's not to say that you don't need to process through these things, because you absolutely do. That's important. This is not about pretending like those things aren't happening or not addressing anything difficult that's happening, because you absolutely need to do those things. But the point is that you shouldn't stay stuck there. Instead, you should utilize this as an opportunity to learn from these things. You can learn how to deal with them better the next time that they pop up. You can learn how to better protect yourself emotionally going forward. That one's huge. You can learn tools that help you feel empowered instead of feeling like a victim. Oh my gosh, that is a life changer. I really, really, really wish that I had embraced that and done that when my husband was deep in addiction, because it would have changed everything. Staying in a victim mentality is going to keep you from moving forward in your life, period. And I know that's not what you want deep down. I also know that's definitely not what God wants for you. That was not how you were created to live. So that brings us to the other choice. And that is stepping out of that victim mentality and taking responsibility for yourself. Working on helping yourself is one of the greatest gifts that you can ever give yourself, and also your kids too, if you have young kids in the house or even teenagers. You can do this. You can work on helping yourself no matter what your current situation looks like. So, how do we work on helping ourselves? Well, there's really three main steps to this process. The first thing is you need to learn. You need to learn a different way to do things. The second part is you need to implement those things that you learn. And in comes my famous saying, knowing is one thing, doing is everything, right? So when you step one, learn a different way, and you step two, put those things into practice, then step three is kind of the result of those first two steps. And that's where you start to grow and change. And that's when you're really helping yourself move towards a much improved outlook, a better situation, just a better life for yourself overall. So as you keep repeating the learning and implementing parts, you'll start to see things take on a different shape because you're focusing now on those things. So the negativity that you've been drowning in is automatically going to begin to lift because you're not feeding it. I think you've probably heard me say before in another episode that what you feed stays. So just like if you feed a stray cat, it's going to hang around. If you feed a victim mentality and a lot of negativity that's swirling around in your head all the time, it's going to stay. But if you switch that out and switch your focus to positivity and to working on helping yourself and bettering yourself in your situation, then all that negativity is just going to automatically start to lift because you're not feeding it anymore. The other thing that will happen is the weight of everyone else's problem, i.e., your husband, will also be lifted. That's not for you to carry. And when you start to learn that and start to understand that and start to learn how to circumvent his problem being your problem, that's when everything starts to change. And that's where you're going to begin to see positive changes in your mental health, in your emotional health, in your spiritual health, and even in your physical health, because you are going to become free from the bondage of negativity. Negativity and a victim mentality is so easy to fall into as the wife of an alcoholic because this is a hard thing. And again, this is not about focusing on yourself, is not about pretending that nothing is happening. It's addressing what is happening and learning how to cope with that and deal with that in a much healthier, better way for you. And that is a beautiful thing. Of course, if you need a step-by-step guide on how to help yourself through this situation and take responsibility for what you can change, I do offer the Secret Sister Circle, which is available to you through marriedtoaddiction.com. So go check that out if you would like some more help with this. But regardless of how you find help or what help you utilize, just make sure that you do that, because it is a really, really hard thing to stay stuck in the negative. It's hard to be there even for weeks, but if you don't address it, those weeks turn into months, turn into years, and you turn around and find that you're just a shell of yourself. And that is not who God created you to be. So I hope that's been helpful for you. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Hey, one more quick thing before I let you go today. Do you follow Married to Addiction on either Instagram or Facebook, or both? If not, I would love to have you join me over there. It's a great place to stay connected with everything that's happening with Married to Addiction. I post updates about my podcast episodes, of course. I post about my freebies. I post about my programs. I post encouragement in the way of Bible verses and things like that. I also post just like some helpful little teaching nuggets sometimes too. So I really think that you would get a lot of value out of that as the wife of an alcoholic, and I would love to have you join me on either Facebook or Instagram, or both. You can find me at facebook.com/married to addiction, or just at married to addiction on Instagram. I hope to see you there.